Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're just doing a little doodle, you guys. We're keeping it a little bit simple. It's just a little doodle, and sometimes you just need a little doodle. So that's what we're doing today. Anyway, I don't know if you guys recognize this little lady, but if you watched my sketchbook tour from last Friday, this is actually a redraw of one of my very many watercolor pieces. And by very many, I mean very few. There was like 4 or 5 in that sketchbook, but I did about 4 or 5 little watercolor drawings like 7 years ago, and I was looking at them and I was like, I could do these better now, and I'm gonna do them with markers. And so I decided to do them better now, but with markers. I actually did the one with the vampire with the blood. That's actually what that little green with the green sticky note is covering up, because I thought about just doing all 3 of those little ladies that were in that sketchbook tour, but I decided that I could not do that because one of them had blood, and as I was doing it I was like, I'm not gonna record this. And then after I finished it I was like, yeah, I think this is too much blood for YouTube. I mean, it's not like a lot of blood, but the way that I do blood, because I did for a while have a body horror / blood and guts phase. I wouldn't say I'm very good at like 100% rendering blood realistically, but you can look at it and be like, that's blood. So yeah, I decided we'll just do one for today, and I started on this one because I kind of sort of had an idea for it. Obviously right now you see me, I'm just going in with one color, and I'm actually going to go over the whole thing with this one pink color, because I was like, well, that one, the original one, is very pink because I did not erase the colored pencil underneath it before I painted it. And I was like, I wanted to still retain that sort of pinkness without being quite so sloppy. No offense if you like coloring with colored pencil over top of paint. I just feel like the way that I did in that drawing, it was a little bit messy and not super planned out. And so I was like, well, what if I kind of try and do like a little bit of an underpainting type thing, like they do with like oil paintings, where you go over with a specific color and then you paint over it and it gives it like all a little undertone. And so I decided to go with this pink first. But I don't know, I feel like at the end he kind of loses it, but also not really. I feel like maybe the pink I chose, it's a very, very light pink, and so it kind of doesn't super look pink by the end. Since it's so light, it kind of looks a little bit closer to the skin tone, which I did use it as the skin tone, obviously, because it's the underpainting. I actually meant to go over with a different color for the skin tone over top of it, and then I forgot. I was just like, yeah, that's the sin tone, right? Which was not supposed to be the skin tone, but it did end up being the skin tone. But it does look good. And because I did use a pink pen for the line art, and you guys already know about the high-tech C's, they do bleed if you don't let them dry. They do bleed, and I did not let this one dry, so it did start to bleed a little bit, but I felt like that really helped with the pinkness of the drawing. I really wanted it to look pink. So overall, I would say 100% success with this one. I actually really like it. The only one part I don't really like it about it is sort of kind of the hand. I don't know about you guys, but that hand is like super off. I did not mean to make the knuckles connect like that, but I did. But that's okay. It looks like a hand. It looks better than the hand I originally drew. So we improved in 7 years. Can you believe that? Actually trying and keep trying and doing things for 7 years means you improve a little bit. So like, puff out your chest a little bit. Be proud of yourself, because after 7 years, you too can improve. But yeah, that's a kind of idea for that. All of the pink over the whole thing. And honestly, it was not a super hard drawing to do. Like, it's just a little headshot. But I decided I didn't want to do it just because I was like, I'm tired. I want to do something simple. I want to do some more simple stuff, just because I feel like, since these are drawings for every day, not every drawing needs to be super complicated and super pushing your boundaries. Like, even when we get into like the coloring of the skin, which I'm doing right now, there's nothing really crazy with the lighting or anything. I was just really trying to just redo that drawing, but how I would do it now, I picked a light source. Obviously the light source is coming from the top right, and I kept that in mind when I was doing the shadows, but it's nothing super crazy. It's not like a lighting study or anything. It's just very, very simple. And I think sometimes we just have to do things that are a little bit in our comfort zone, that are just a little bit simple. Sometimes we just have to do a little doodle, and it, refreshes us a little bit, So that's what I did. So unfortunately, since this is just a little doodle, I don't entirely have much to say about it. Like I said, the most interesting thing that I did with this drawing is that I put that little pink undertone over everything. to use it as sort of kind of a base, and then I just went over it with some shadow colors and stuff. I feel like maybe the second most interesting thing I did was when it came to the hair. Just something that I found out when I flipped through some of my older sketchbooks is I didn't really sort of experiment with color too much, especially when it came to hair color or skin color. Like nowadays, if I want to make like a character blue, I'll be like, whatever, I'll make them blue. Or I'm like, they should have like pink hair. I'm like, okay, pink hair. But back then, I feel like I just didn't really think about it. I was just like, they'll have brown hair. Brown hair is a normal color to have. But this is art, and you could do whatever you want. If you want to just paint a lady with brown hair all the time, that's cool, that's chill. But I don't think it's that I wanted to paint a lady with brown hair all the time. It's just that I didn't think of doing things outside of that. I never personally have dyed my hair. I've been around people who have dyed their hair. I don't have anything against dyeing your hair. I would love to dye my hair, but every time I think about it, the only color I would want is seafoam green, and they're like, that is a hard color to maintain, and I'm lazy as fuck, so I knew I would not be able to maintain it. So it's kind of like, that's kind of be like a waste. It'd be like seafoam green for like 2 weeks, and then it'd go to be like something like dingy and weird. So I'm like, nah. But when it's, it's a drawing, you don't have to think about stuff like that. The character's hair color stays that color for as long as you want to draw it that way, right? So when it came to this drawing, her hair is still brown, obviously, just because that character's hair color was brown originally. And this is just a quick, super little redraw. I'm not trying to get anywhere fancy or anything. But I decided, since that underpainting was pink, that I was going to use the pink as the highlight color and go with this brown color. So this brown color that I use for the hair is actually a very desaturated brown color. It's brown, but also in a way that it's leaning towards gray. What color is it? It's E75 or something. Let me find it. Sorry about that. It's actually E74, which is cocoa brown, and it is a Copic marker. So I'm going to tell you guys something. This might be my new favorite brown marker. Not because I feel like it is a good brown. Let's just get that clear. I think it's kind of dingy and also kind of ugly, but I feel like as a base for other colors to go over top, it's like the MVP. Since it's so desaturated, I feel like it takes other colors really well. I used it in the other drawing to the right with the vampire. You can't really see too much of it, but you can see it a little bit. But I used other desaturated colors in that one because I wanted her to be a vampire, so she looks kind of dead, and so her hair is kind of dingy. And so I felt like I would use it here for the brown of her hair because since it is desaturated, I feel like the pink would go over top of it really well. And it did, because not only am I a genius, I know how to pick colors, okay? That is a joke. But I feel like it did actually go really well with the pink. So it already has pink as like the highlight color, and then I use this one as like the darkest colors, and then I go over with a mint toad pink, and I feel like I just went really well, and so I feel like it was a good decision, and so I like this brown now. Like I said, not because I feel like it's a very strong brown on its own, but because I feel like it'll go really well with other colors. So next time I want to add brown to a hair color, and I wanted to have some other color as an undertone, I'm gonna go with that one, just because I feel like it fits really well. And I feel like that was fun. Part of the experimenting is just how to make things mundane, but also have them stand out a little bit. You guys can tell me whether or not that I was successful with that. But I feel like it looks nice. Like I said, it's still like, it's just brown hair, but I feel like the pink of it makes it a little bit more fun. For me, anyway. Overall, it just feels like a step up from what I did 7 years ago, which, I would hope that I've improved after 7 years. Some people can't say that, and that's okay too. It's a little bit disappointing for yourself if you look at your stuff and you feel like you haven't improved after a long time. But, we're all on our own journey in the world. So sometimes you feel like you haven't improved, and then you do something, and then it just clicks for you, and then it unlocks like a whole world, And so I would just say don't give up, no matter what. Even if you feel like you're not improving, you probably have, just in a way that maybe you don't notice at first. And that's why redraws are so much fun, because you get to look back on your old art and sort of kind of appreciate it, I guess, from the place that you used to be. And it really gives you an appreciation for where you are now, because you look at it and you draw it again and you're like, wow, that old one, no offense to you, girl, but fuck, you know. Not to say that you should look back on your old art and be like, that is ugly and I hate it and I hate myself. You should look back on it and be like, oh, well, I'm so glad that I made that because it led me to the point where I can make stuff like this, you know. And so that's why I like to do redraws, because I get to look back on stuff and be like, it leads me to improvement, and I've been able to improve, and that makes me really happy. And so here you go. I'm coloring in her eyes. In the original one, I actually didn't color in her eyes. I just made them the same color as the glasses. And now that I am older, I'd be like, that's not how glasses work. Even sunglasses. I mean, some sunglasses can be really dark. But I feel like when they're really dark and your eyes are the same color, you usually can't even see your eyes at all. So why would you see the outline of your eyes, but not the color, you know? And so I was like, for this one, she's going to see the color. And I really like to use my markers because since alcohol markers are translucent or transparent, I guess, they layer over each other. It's really easy to do like sunglasses with them, I feel like, in my opinion, as long as you choose the right color. As long as it's a little bit darker than the color it's underneath it, it layers really well, which is one of the fun parts of markers, is they layer really well. And then I went in and I added the what's it called, the shadow color to her eyes, I guess, because I forgot to do that. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of the drawing. I just go over the what's it called, I do the highlights after I finish off the glasses. I feel like maybe I should have left a little bit of highlight on the glasses, but I was like, no, I just didn't want to. And so I didn't. And you don't have to do what you don't want to. And that's how I live my life. I don't do what I don't want to do. And I only do what I want, pretty much. And then I go ahead and add the highlights under her eyes, and inside of her eyes. And then, because I know she's wearing sunglasses, it wouldn't make sense for her to have super strong highlights underneath her eyes and in her eyes, since it would be having the glasses over it. And so after I do the eye highlights and stuff, and then I do the highlights on her lips and her cheeks and stuff, but after I do that, I go over the highlights in the eyes with the same pink marker that I did the sunglasses color with, just because I wanted to bring it back down to that pink color. And honestly, if I had just left it, it probably would have soaked in the ink of the marker anyway, but I just wanted to go over it myself, just so I can get that pink back in there, so I could make it look get a bit back down to that tone that it was before. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video here. I hope you guys liked this little tiny simple sort of drawing. Sometimes we want to do things that are a little bit ambitious, and sometimes we just want to draw a little lady that we drew a long time ago and feel better about ourselves. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed spending this time with me. I'll go ahead and see you in the next one. Bye.